welcome back to another episode of The Female Point of View. We have a few special guests on tonight, a couple of my friends here, but we'll start off with the girls' intros real quick. Angie, you want to give us your name, age, what you do, where you're from, and your relationship status?
I'm Angie. I'm 36. Just turned 36 yesterday. What else is there? Oh, I'm full-time stay-home girlfriend. From Sydney, Australia.
Professional girlfriend.
No, not professional. Actually, pretty professional.
Yes. One man. Amy.
One man.
So I'm Amy. I've just turned 31. I'm from London, England. I'm a flight attendant who is permanently jet lagged. I was single for 3 years and I've just started dating someone.
Just started. How recent is that?
The past 2 months.
2 months, right? And you said it was a 3-year break before that?
Yeah, I was single for 3 years, partially because I had very high standards and realised that it wasn't realistic and that you have to compromise somewhere. And
high standards and all men are trash.
I mean, that was my opinion for a while, let's be real. But that opinion has changed, so yeah.
Megan Ford. I'm 34 and I live in Phoenix. I've been here for about 5, almost 6 years, and I'm single.
Anastasia?
Hey, I'm Anastasia. I'm 28. I'm from Ukraine, but I've been living in Toronto for 8 years. My background is IT. I'm still doing projects in those and concentrating more on creating my own project in e-commerce. And I'm single, but not in the active search, just mostly concentrating on myself, on my self-growth and stuff like that.
Dating at all or cutting it off entirely?
No, dating, because the biological clock is ticking, but still at the same time, I'm just like more concentrated on my career and stuff. And yeah, if I'm looking for someone, it should be someone more aligned with me and my goals right now. So.
Fair enough. Michaela.
Hi, I'm Michaela. I'm from Niagara. I am 25, going to be 26. I do retail management and bartending for work, and I have been single for about a year
now. Nice. And Alexa.
Hello, my name is Alexa, and I am 29 years old. I graduate in December with my doctorates. I have been married for 3 years, and we've been together for 7 years, very happily married. And I live in Texas. Also, happy late birthday, Angie.
Thank you.
And our two special guests, the hosts of the Access Vegas show. Firstly, the author of the Rational Male series, Rollo Tomassi.
Live from Las Vegas. Yes, thank you for having me. Author of the 6 books now. 6th book came out in
crazy.
Yeah, I know.
I started reading you when you were working on book 4.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was religion, man. That was a 3-year project. Yeah, that was a long time. Yep. So let's see. What do I do? Podcast host. I have my own show, the Rational Male, every Sundays, and then of course Mike and I do Access Vegas here in Las Vegas every other Wednesday. Now at a new time, 6 p.m. Pacific and 9 p.m. Eastern. And so we'll be picking that up on Wednesday. I am in my late 50s, and I have been married for 29 and a half years.
Long marriage.
And
the
what do I have to get out? That's some of my degrees are. I'm from UT
Oh, and we have the founder of Men of Action, a mentor of mine, great friend, Michael Sartain.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I have a super offensive podcast that you do not want to listen to while you're at work. I basically call people hairless murder apes and prove the fact that none of us actually have free will. That's what I do for a living. And basically, listen, I love you ladies, and I'm excited to hear what you have to say. But if your advice is more of just go up and approach more people and be yourself, just as long as you're hot, you can miss me with that shit. This is 2026. That shit doesn't work, and so we can skip it. I write ads. I'll tell you what my business is. I have a performance coaching program. My ads are basically, did dating apps not work for you? And I have 4,300 clients because they don't work. Did cold approach not work for you? I have 4,300 clients because it doesn't work anymore. And so I'm going to go over why exactly that doesn't work if you guys want to talk about it. And then here's the worst part about me. Rollo, his 6th book, he dedicated it to me, and I haven't even read the fucking thing yet. So that's that. I'm getting to it, Rollo. I'm getting to it.
You have no excuse.
Yeah. I have a BBA from UT Austin, hook 'em horns. I'm a captain I'm a retired captain for the United States Air Force. I was a KC-135 navigator. I did counterintelligence for 2 years. I forgot what else I do. I don't remember what I do, but yeah, that's pretty much it. And then I have men of action mentoring. Oh, and I host
he has a lot of cats.
I host a bunch of beauty pageants.
That's a lot of cats.
I have 3 cats right now. Yeah,
in his house, his apartment.
He said I have a BBL from UT Austin.
BBL from UT Austin.
I have a BBL from UT Austin. That's correct.
I think actually that was a great topic to start into, is the idea of just going up and approaching women more. Okay. I think there was a couple of the girls who said that that was their advice for men. Megan, you were definitely one.
I was. I get it, Michael. Like, if you're going up to a girl maybe that is out of your league, maybe this isn't applicable to everybody. I just personally have had guys that I think are hot. And I've even had a professional baseball player be like, you were super intimidating. I saw him staring at me all night long. And I'm like, why didn't you come up to me? And so it just was mind blowing that he was intimidated to come up to me when he's a professional baseball player,
Megan, what in that context, of course you're correct. For a guy that women find attractive, which is, depending on the woman, somewhere between 20% and 4% of men that women actually find attractive, if you're Chad Thundercock or if you're fucking Tyrone, 100% you should go approach women more. You should be on dating apps. Hell yeah, you should do all of that stuff. But for the rest of the people in this country, when women find out that the average man in the United States is 5'9" and makes $59,000 a year, they're not interested in that guy coming up and talking to them. They want guys to come up and talk to them as long as they're attractive. Whenever I hear someone say, hey, be yourself, you know who they want to be themselves? Movie stars, center fielders, power forwards. That's who they want to be themselves. I deal with clients who are under 5'9". Some of these guys are from other countries. Some of these guys have trouble speaking English, and they want to talk to women too. And when they go be themselves, act super vulnerable and just go up and talk to women, for some reason, Megan, it doesn't work out for them. So there's an answer for them too. And that's the answer that I would prescribe, that I rarely hear any women talking about.
Which is?
Oh, social circle.
Okay.
Yeah, it's basically having a massive, the concept in science is called mate choice copying in humans from evolutionary psychology. And so what it is basically women choose who other women choose. There's tons of data that there's this one study where they take 250 women, they show them pictures of a man, they give a rating to this man. Then they give another 250 women, they show the same picture of the same men, except in this case, they show the ratings of the other women being higher. And so they rate the man higher. There's a second study that shows men in the same study with and without a wedding ring. With the wedding ring, 90% attractiveness. Without the wedding ring, 59%. There's another study showing the cheerleader effect, where men who are around a lot of women seem to be more attractive in photos. And then there's another study that shows that basically women who are younger are more receptive to mate choice copying in men when they're younger. And so there's tons of studies that show this is the way. This is the way a guy who's a 5 can date a girl who's out of their league. There's a final study by Lucy Hunt from 2015 where she goes over the attractiveness of 2 people in a couple. They take 275 couples and they rate the attractiveness. And then they measure how long these people knew each other before they started dating. At 1 month, the correlation was 0.72, meaning if he was a 10, she was a 10. At 3 months, the correlation got cut down to 0.35. At 9 months, the correlation was 0, which means if you take girls, you put them in the friend zone, you're 100 times more likely to date beautiful women than you are just going up and talking to them and being yourself. So that's basically the data. There's been 30 years of data on this, but nobody wants to talk about that data. Instead, people are listening to Gary Vaynerchuk and Jordan and fucking Chris GQ Perry sit out there and spew bullshit about just go up to be yourself. Ask every girl to be your girlfriend. There's actual ways to help men, and no one seems to be looking this up.
In your feminine energy.
Alexa is like chomping at the bit. She's dying.
Okay, so my undergrad, I took a ton of evolutionary biology classes, and everything you said, absolutely correct. Women go for men that are surrounded by other women because essentially, like, to dumb it down, like, they've already been
pre-selected,
approved. They've been pre-approved by other women, which is why so many girls also go for like married men, because they've been pre-approved by another woman. Like, you're not having to do the work to like see if this is a valid partner or not, which is exactly what my friends and I would do in undergrad. If we had a friend that was struggling, we would go out with him and we would surround him and we would just, give him lots of attention. And I swear, every single time other girls would come up and they'd be like, oh, who is that? Like, they would be like interested all of a sudden. It's true though. It's true. It's literally like evolutionary biology. Like, if you,
Alexa,
what?
Can I ask you a question?
I need to be cut off.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. There's a delay here.
No, you're fine.
Would you say that you helping another man be successful with women kind of allowed you to see the struggle that men go through when they go talk to women?
I'm bisexual. I've talked to women and it's fucking terrifying.
It is terrifying. Okay, cool.
Being turned down, like, just knocks your confidence. Like, you go up and you're like, hey, like, best intentions, like, like not wanting to be a creep or anything. And you go up and you get fucking cut down the way that some girls cut people down. And holy shit, it is like beyond humbling. It's like, okay, I'll never talk to anybody again. And I totally see the appeal of dating
worse
apps
for
because
men,
it's
though.
terrifying.
Getting shot down as a woman. Like, getting shot down as a man is
but
like
I'm telling you, like, I've been rejected. I have been rejected, and it hurts.
I would actually put forth this hypothesis, Alexa. Part of the reason why you are happily married is because you do understand the struggles of what men go through. You're not delusional as to what they'd have to go. I would bet you'd probably help your brother or a guy friend with women. And because a lot of women don't grasp, have you ever seen the experiments where they actually take a woman and give them a man's profile? The guy's like a 5. And they give him a man's profile on a dating app and they can't get one single match. There's a ton of videos of the women trying to do this and they can't get any women to match with these guys. And they're decent looking guys. They're swiping rights on girls that are 2s and 3s and they can't get any of them to match. So there's a struggle that men are going through in this bottom third of men that cannot just be themselves. They can't just go be more vulnerable. They can't buy women flowers and just walk up to more women and going to make it work. There's a way around it though. What I'm trying to describe, it's just, this is the only fucking advice they're getting. Go on dating apps, go up and talk to a bunch of strange women when there's actual tangible advice that would work for them so much better.
Take a shower, put on deodorant. Like, what was the other one? Personal hygiene.
But what about not being yourself if you are not at the place where you want to be right now in the life? Like, so you want people to put on the fake persona, and what about like when the reality checks come?
Anastasia. No, Anastasia, it's so great that you're saying that. I don't mean be myself. If in December I can bench press 185 pounds, and in July I can bench press 225, and the next July I can bench press 315, I'm not my fucking self anymore. I improved. Do you see the difference there? That's the thing. It's a constant improvement. And so the idea that I'm just going to be myself, no, there's no such thing as just being yourself. You can be yourself when you're fucking beautiful or rich. Then you have the privilege of believing that your energy is the reason why these guys invited you on a boat, or it was your zodiac sign. That's the reason why it happened. No, when you're a man and you're average looking, you have no privilege of just being yourself. You have to fucking grind and you have to work. You have to accept massive levels of rejection and just be okay with it. But if you learn how to use social alignments and how to network, you can level up the amount of money you make, and you can level up the type of women that you end up dating, getting around the fact that you happen to not be that physically attractive or rich.
Yeah, I agree. I understand the part about like fake until you make it. I feel like I can relate to those two. But yeah, it depends on also if you're doing the work to grow too, like maybe sometimes don't date if you're not feeling like you're at the place of life that you want to be in. Like, that's the thing that we discussed before. Like, it's more about being the that version of yourself that you want to be, like as a higher self, as the like ideal partner, and then you attract that kind of partners to yourself as well, you know? Like, yeah.
But if there's one thing we know about women is that you always want more and you're never happy. Like there's always more that you want. There's always that next level. There's always that additional thing. And it's like, that's okay, right? But it's why, especially for guys, for example, this is kind of a different example, but a guy should always be trying to improve. A guy should not, you know, women get used to certain levels of being treated. It's like having things taken care of and paid for them. And it's always this kind of, they're always reassessing if this guy is the guy, but there's never this amazing sort of equilibrium state. And for people in general, I don't really think have that. I think at least people that you actually want to date and you want to be around, they have sort of the mindset where the job is never finished and you always should be growing. So it's not like focused on this end goal, like focusing on an end goal for most men, which they do is like get married, have kids, and then that's it. And then they like turn in their card and now they're just propping their feet up and like they think they won the game, which is a lot of, you know, guys that come to this kind of side of the YouTubes. So
yeah, they don't like most guys don't understand that it's I don't say a constant struggle, but it's like there's no such thing as contentment, right? Like if you can look in the mirror in the morning and be happy with what you see, you're sunk right there. I mean, there's always something else. When you get the degree, what's next, right? I mean, you're happy for a little while. I mean, hey, I achieved something, right? And people pat you on the back, and you got a diploma, and you got some trophies and shit like that. And then you're like, okay, well, now what about here? Or people wonder why they're not quote unquote happy. Well, the problem is like happiness is not a state of being. It's not something that you are. It's not something that is maintainable or sustainable. It is because the state, like the what defines the human existence is basically discontent and how you deal with that. Unfortunately, most guys deal with discontent destructively. I would advise most guys to deal with it creatively, right? You know, build upon that and become better than you were the other day before. And the thing is like, I love it when guys will tell me, well, you know, once I get a girlfriend, once I get a diploma, once I get the job, once I get the car, once I get this, then no, you won't be happy. And I think one of the biggest lies we tell like women these days is that they are entitled to some sort of sustainable state, like end state, like state of being happy all the time. And the fact of the matter is happiness is an emotion, and that emotion is something you feel while you're doing something. It's an internal intrinsic reward, right? So happiness is not something that you are, it is something that you do. And I can relate this to contentment. It's the same thing as like human emotions like fear, anxiety, those kinds of things. That emotive state is meant to move you from one state to another. And usually it has to do with either reproduction or it has to do with survival, right? So I can't survive in this state. If you're depressed, what your body is saying, what your mind is saying to you is, I got to get out of this fucking place and I got to move to something else. If you're happy and you're doing something, it's intrinsically rewarding. This is fucking good. I'm going to keep doing this. So you feel happiness in the moment while you're actually doing something. You never are like, you can never be happy, but you can do things that make you happy. And I think a lot of guys don't realize that because they're still stuck in this idea that if they just do certain things or if they say certain, you know, be a certain way, and they start to feel like when I start working with guys, it's like they feel like they're acting. Right? Like they feel like it's like rote memorization, or they feel like this is not who I really am, but I have to like pretend. I got to I got to be a very good actor. And then when I get the girl, I'll let my hair down and I'll say, hey, look, I'm really not like this. And I'm really a guy who likes to watch, anime and, eat half a pizza and suck down, half a 6-pack or something like that. I'm really not this way. Surprise. And the thing is like that so that ends up being an act for them. But through doing what we do, through working out, through like the money, muscles, and game, right? Through going through the physical side of things, through the game and networking and social side of things, and then through finances and money side of things, you become something else. And you become something greater than what you were before. So it's like, be yourself. The thing is I don't think enough guys realize that you get to decide, and women too, you get to decide who you are. I don't know any of you guys right now. I have no other than the guys here. I don't know any of the women here, but like if I met you in a new town somewhere and I said, hey man, I'm, an ex, football player or something like that, you wouldn't know any different because you've never met me before. And now I'm in this new situation or something. If I played the role well enough, I could probably pull it off. The thing is it's you decide who you get to be at any given moment. And so most guys simply don't give themselves permission to change so that they can be something more than they are. So it's not be yourself, it's be something more than yourself.
Yeah, you're right.
Amy, do you have something?
Yeah, I
Please.
really liked what you just said, Rollo. But there was something that really sort of resonated with me that I just want to expand on a little bit.
Sure.
So it was the part where you said about in guys when they're discontent, it can then cause destructive actions. Now, I've had this in dating and I wholeheartedly agree with it, but that's why I'm interested to hear what your guys' opinions are on this. So I feel like a lot of guys these days are all about self-improvement, all about discipline, all about persistence and consistency, which is fantastic. However, women are nurturers and men are providers. So I feel like until a man is in a stable position to provide, they don't actually want a relationship. Therefore, they are quite comfortable just dating because they like the fact that they have the company. They like the fact that they can take girls out on dates. They can take them back to their bedroom, whatnot. And things start to go well. And then they start to really like the woman, but they're not 100% in that place for a relationship. And that's when they pull back. And that's when they get destructive. And that's when they become a commitment phobe. So what do you guys think about it?
I don't know that it has to do with, like, I know some men who are extremely successful and then absolutely have enough financial stability to raise children, but they're just fucking whores and they want to sleep with a bunch of women. I've seen that. I don't really think it has to do with how much money. I just, whenever I look at Nick Cannon or Tyga or Michael B. Jordan or Drake or Machine Gun Kelly, I don't see a bunch of guys. Like, those guys have enough money to raise women and they're still just man sluts. And so I don't know if that's exactly what it has to be with. What I do think is that there's some men who are more comfortable with being in a relationship and some men who aren't. But I know some men who are broke as fuck and don't want to be in a relationship. And I know some men who are rich. I don't know if it's that. I just think it comes to a place. I think it has to do with your experiences with women and what you evoke from women. If you're a guy who constantly gets walked over by women, you're going to start to resent them after a while. If you're a guy who keeps getting put in the friend zone, you're going to start to resent them after a while. Let's say you grow your status a little bit and now all of a sudden you start getting invited to these parties and these girls start wanting you to settle down. Hey, you know what? These girls didn't want to settle down with me when I was 22. Now that I'm 42 and rich, maybe I don't want to settle down now. So that can happen too for some guys. And then I meet other guys who, look, a lot of my guy friends, one of my buddies, he was on The Bachelorette, just crazy good looking dude. The guy was he was a freshman in college with me at UT Austin. And as soon this guy ran through every single sorority chick at UT. This guy was with so many girls. And then once he got out, he was like, okay, I've had my fun and was ready to get married and had 4 kids. I think it has to do with your experience with the opposite sex on whether or not you want to be able to do something like that.
God forbid, man, I would never got married if it was, I got to wait till I got $100,000 in my bank account. Are you fucking kidding me? I think a lot of guys, I think it kind of depends on the guy and what his like sort of state of mind is and where he's at in his life right now. One of the things I think a lot of women, like probably from your generation, like I would say Gen Z and then like, the latter half of the millennials, they deal with is the guys that they're attracted to, they're either guys who have been attractive. They're in that 4.5%. They're guys who've been attractive for a long time. They're kind of hit the genetic lottery and they've made a lot of money. Or there's guys who used to be kind of fat, or they used to be kind of broke, or they used to be kind of losers, and they did something with themselves and they built themselves up. And that's a process, and it takes time to do that. So like they get to be about 34, 36 years old, somewhere around there, and they just start hitting their stride. They just made partner in the law firm, or they just started, their business is actually starting to take off, or they finished their residency at the hospital and now they're a surgeon, right? And so now they're hitting their stride, and suddenly they're realizing that they have sexual selectivity. Right? They realize their whole lives throughout their 20s, they grind and they went to school and they went to med school and they went to, to law school or whatever it is whatever it is that made them successes, right? It could be anything, but they get to that level where they finally, they're finally at their peak potential level, I guess, for being attractive. And so they've got this they've worked their way into who they are. Now, hopefully those guys have learned to be good judges of character at that time. I wish I could say all of them do, but at that point, it's the guy is like looking around. Maybe he doesn't want to settle down. Prior, like before, he probably did. When he was in his 20s, he was like, man, I can't wait to have a wife and kids and da, 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 da. And then when he finally gets to be 34, 36, he realizes that suddenly people are treating him differently. It's like if you're saying, an easier way to understand this is if you are like a fat guy, right? A fat fuck, and you just go to the gym and you work out for like 8 months solid or a year solid, right? And suddenly you put on muscle mass and you drop your body fat down to like 10% or something like that. You will notice that people will treat you differently. Right? People start talking to you differently. Girls start wanting to open conversations with you. Maybe you get a different job. Maybe you have different ways of sort of socializing with people because now people are responding to you differently. And so when you're meeting that guy and he's attracted, you're meeting that. And so now you're meeting this guy and now he's the product of what he has created over those years. Right? So now he's the guy who's, on point with his business or whatever, or maybe now he's like at a physical state where he's very, very, attractive. That's that guy. You got to remember he's the product of all the stuff that happened before he got to that point. So he might be ready to settle down, or he might not be, because for the first time in his life, he's going, fuck, I finally, I've got some selection here. I can finally decide who I want to date instead of who I can date, right? Who will accept me, who will approve of me, rather than the other way around where he becomes more selective at that point. But I think the point is like, I think one of the mistakes, and you just brought this up, and not to hit, to ruin your ride here, Amy, but when we talk about like commitment and commitment phobe, the only time women use the word commitment is usually when it's like, commit to me, right? Commit to marriage, commit to this relationship, to commit to monogamy of some sort. But you got to remember that men actually commit to more things than women do, because you go look at the military, you look at family, you look at business, you look at school, you look at all the things. If the guy's a winner, if he's the guy that you're attracted to, because you're not attracted to losers, if that guy is the product of all the things that he's built himself up to, he's definitely committed to a lot of other things, but he's not committed to a wife, and he's not committed to a family, and he's not committed to anything else, because he's at that point where he can finally go, okay, I can pick and choose who I want to be with.
It's like the candy store analogy where the guy wants a piece of candy from the candy store, but he's told no. And so he, over years, builds himself up, makes a bunch of money, finally can get all the candy he wants. And then is he just going to get one piece?
We're gonna try. So, like I've heard it. It's the ice cream store, right? Like, so you go, you can't come in the ice cream store. No. And then suddenly he's allowed in the ice cream store. Now he can go and decide what ice cream. He's not just going to go to vanilla and just stick with vanilla, right? He's going to try a bunch of things that he likes, and maybe decide on whatever he's into, right? And by the way, this is actually when I go into this analogy, it's actually more offensive to most guys than it is to women, because women are like, yeah, I guess I can understand, wanting to decide what's best for you, right? But most guys who aren't in that position think that you have to just decide and settle and hope for contentment, and everything is decided by fate or luck or whatever, and rather than being someone who is what's called being a hyper agent rather than a hypo agent. Like hyper agency is I happen to the world, whereas hypo agency is the world happens to me, which is most people, right? I'm just a victim of circumstance, right? Rather than I'm going to affect my will upon the world in dating, in business, in my physique, whatever else it is. I'm going to take action, and I'm going to be the one that's going to decide what I'm going to do.
Can I just also say something? If I were you, Amy, I'll just believe him. Like, if he doesn't want to be with you, it's either if he's valuable enough, you show your value and just keep going, or you don't. Like, believe whatever he tells you, believe it.
Like, I already did, honey. That's why he's gone.
No, as in never assume like he's not committing because he doesn't want a relationship.
Yeah, don't make excuses. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Believe that you're not good enough for him, and either you be better or move on with your life.
Oh no, I was too good for him. I've realized that now.
No,
how about let's try this. I'm curious what you ladies think about this. Take every interaction that you've ever had with a man where there was any question whatsoever about his level of commitment, and just remove all the words. Now just think about the entire interaction, but there's no words. I guarantee you will clearly understand where you stand if you just remove all of the words. Got it? I'm not telling you that they're lying. What I'm saying is, for me, that's what I tell guys, the same thing too. It doesn't matter that she told you that you were hot and that she was going to come over later and didn't show up. All that matters is, did she show up or did she not show up? Actions over everything, to the point that words have no mass, they have no meaning, they have no weight, they have no momentum. It's just actions. When you do that, you'll find better business partners, you'll get better jobs, you'll get better employees, you'll date better people if you do that. So, but the problem is,
medium is the message that if she's flaking for dates, if she's not, like, I get guys who will tell me all the time, they'll say, "Oh, Rollo, this girl's giving me like mixed messages." I'm like, no,
she's not giving you mixed messages.
You need to hear. You just don't want to see it. If she's, like I said, if she's late for a day, you're putting up with all this stuff, or she's hot and she's cold, or she doesn't call you for a long time, and then suddenly she does call you for a long time. Like, that's the message, that there are other priorities above you, and you just don't want to see that connection. It's just they don't see the actions, and I hate it when people go, "Well, yeah, watch what she only believe what she does, don't believe what she says." And no. Believe what the medium tells you. Believe what the behavior is telling you. It's very important to understand and be able to suss that out, because most guys can't get past the, well, I'm just going to not believe what she says. No, you have to watch what she does, and you have to understand and analyze the behavior.
But just, I know so many women that are like they brag to me. It's like, well, my boyfriend doesn't have an Instagram because he's so busy. I'm like, no, your boyfriend doesn't have an Instagram because he's got a wife and kids, and he doesn't want you to fucking know about him. And like, they're just getting duped. And the reason why is because they're not paying attention to what he does. They're only paying attention to how they feel about it. Ladies, I'm gonna give you the ultimate cheat code. Pay way less attention to how you feel. Pay more attention to what your man does and less attention to how you feel about it, and you'll make the right decision every time. But if you start making decisions because of energy, vibe, woo-woo bullshit, or fucking astrology, you will never make the right. If you start, by the way, ready here, let's play a fun game. Ladies, raise your hand if you think in general women's intuition is better than men's. Raise your hand if you think just in general women have better intuition than men. You guys think you do? Yeah. Oh, great. Women have better intuition. Cool. This would be a very easy thing to study. Oh, wait, guess what? They have studied it. There's tons of studies on this. There is absolutely no difference between a man's intuition and a woman's. Absolutely zero. In fact, intuition comes from subject matter expertise, and it comes from experience. So what intuition is, if I am a cardiologist and I've done 1,000 heart transplants, and I look and I say, hey, I think something's wrong with the aorta, then I have the privilege of having intuition. If I'm a pilot and I've landed a plane 500 times and there's something wrong with the vertical stabilizer, I can feel it. There's something wrong. That's my intuition that I get from education. Instead, I'm being taught about intuition from 19-year-old girls on TikTok who are telling me that men are trash. That's not intuition. That's just bad advice. So when you just worry about actions, just only worry about people's actions and don't worry about how you feel about it, you will more than likely make the right decision.
What about patience and understanding to a person, and things like like meeting the right person at the wrong time of their life journey, and being patient with them, because your actions can be also driven by your past trauma sometimes.
Anastasia, so I the thing is, I don't think that this equation is the same for men as it is for women. So I'm just curious, when you say be patient, do you mean a woman being patient or a man being patient? Because they're two very different things.
Both? Well, yeah, I was thinking
it's pretty different, right? Because like if I'm a woman, if I'm a man and I have a public facing profile, and then my wife goes off and cheats on me and I lose my business and people don't respect me, that's a lot. That's a lot to be patient for. You understand? Yeah. That is. So I just like to point this out. I'm not saying it's right. I think it's wrong. But Beyonce got cheated on, and so did Hillary Clinton, and it didn't hurt them at all. So being patient is very different for men than it is for women. It's an extremely different thing. It's still wrong. Men cheating is bad, regardless. I don't think you should cheat just because that makes you a liar. And I come from the military, and we don't lie. And so that's the thing. So I would say cheating is not a good thing. But I will say that for being patient, what I hear is women saying being patient with me because I cheated versus why doesn't she be patient when she gets the ick? So patience works both ways.
No. For me, right? Cheating is like there is no excuse for those at all.
Okay, so Anastasia, let me ask you something. 80% of divorces are initiated by who?
I don't know. I've never been married, so I don't know.
They're initiated by women. So who really should be more patient?
Well, I guess women from these statistics.
Yeah. So that's like I appreciate what you're saying.
I'm just saying I don't think it's experience too, like being with someone who was like divorced and was cheated on in his relationship, and I can see how it like just shows up in his emotions and his actions and avoidance and stuff like that. But I also like I see the change through time as well, because I know that there was like a huge trauma, you know, when you're being like cheated in the marriage or something.
So wait, you're saying you were dating a guy who was cheated on in a previous relationship and he brought that trauma into
In
your
marriage.
relationship with him. Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
and had like a nasty
Got it.
divorce with like a wife taking the house and everything that he created for her, you know.
Well, Anastasia, so but he in that case he should not be patient, right? He should have divorced her, correct?
Yeah, like he
should've.
divorced. Like we met after divorce and everything. But I'm
Right,
saying
but
that
you
like,
would have advised him to do that, right? He should divorce her.
Yeah, of course. Like
Okay.
I would never like
So
cheating. Like there's
it's
no
patience
excuse for
whenever
that.
we. Yeah,
I'm saying
No,
just like for some time after that, you know, like his experiences and trauma will be influencing his actions, like in the
course.
new relationships
Yeah.
too. Like, and you have to be understanding and explaining things, and yeah, very patient with such person who've been through things like that in the past, you know. So
yeah.
I thought you were saying that he had to be more patient with you.
me.
Right. Yeah. You're
No,
saying,
me, I feel like I was the more
Anastasia's
like,
like, I'll just replace him tomorrow. I don't give a fuck.
no, trust me, I've been through a lot through those relationships, and it also goes back to those like being in a persona, like there is a persona that you would like to be, and there like your current situation, the person also like put me in a competition too, so I felt those and myself too, like I had to compete with other girls, like the physique, what I'm doing, my business and everything, you know. But like at the same time I understood that I had to be patient with him, and like if he's like doing the work on him slowly, and like comes back, like I need to give him some time, you know. If I would be like in my ego right away, I would be like, yeah, like I don't need this is like some traumatized person, like I don't want more trauma for myself too. But at the same time I know where he's coming from, and I can be patient with him, you know, and like do the talks.
I find it so funny that you were like, this was awful. I had to compete with these other women. Welcome to being a man. We compete every day.
Yeah.
Anastasia,
Yeah, that's what I felt, the reverse roles.
You live in Toronto, is that correct?
Yeah.
I would imagine that if you didn't do any self-improvement, you'd still probably have men coming after you. Is that correct? Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, but like it's also different kind of man too, you know. Like,
right. I think you'd get a lot of guys coming after you. Maybe not with the greatest of intentions, but I don't think you'd have to do a lot of self-improvement. You still have a lot of guys coming after you.
Yeah, I agree, but you know, I feel like maybe in the modern world, some of our roles are changing and modifying sometimes, like in the couples, you know, like, and there is still also competition between girls too. If the guy is like,
absolutely, and it's the greatest thing in the world, a competition between women. I'm all for it. Now, here's the thing. Let me just get to my point here. You have the ability, if you want to be selective, right? You probably notice, especially you're not in the United States, but if you notice American women, they become very obese. So like you probably, in comparison to them, you probably realize you could be more selective than them. Is that correct? Would you say that?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're a pretty girl who lives in Toronto. I don't think you have a Russian accent. I'm sure you have no problem. You slay them. My point is, the men that you select, you probably are selecting them because they're also attractive. Could that be the case?
Yeah, of course, and our values align, and like.
But your values align. You're even more selective. So you're selective of the men that you're an attractive woman, and you select men who are very, very attractive to you. And you know what the crazy thing is? You know what the crazy thing is? When a man is attractive to you, you know what he's also attractive to?
What?
All the other women.
Other women.
That's what happened. That's why you have to compete. Right? If you like, none of you want, all of you want to remember what Alexa said before about evolutionary biology. That like that's the thing. When you pick these men, that you're picky. You could have a bunch of women. Like women find 80% of men on dating apps to be unattractive. You can be as picky as you want, but when you pick that guy, just remember those pretty green eyes, that buff, those big biceps that he's got, or that big bank account, or the fact that he's got a deep voice. Other women see that too. And now you're going to have to compete. And now what happens is the guy you like has 70 women in his DMs, and a bottom third of men have never had a single woman in their DMs. And that's where we are now.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, I agree.
Marriage rate's gone to shit. Birth rate's gone to shit. And we'll all be fucking robots in 20 years.
Yeah.
Here we go. Open up that can of worms again.
I've already been speaking to some people, and they would use ChatGPT in messaging.
Yeah, of course.
Meg, did you have something?
Yeah, whenever she was speaking about the person that was struggling with insecurity, I think from being cheated on previously, I did want to touch on that and get your guys' opinion. Like I've went through a very similar situation recently, and unfortunately we have to catch the downfall of that going into the next relationship, even though we're, innocent. So I guess where do we draw the line? Like how patient should we be? What are good tools that men should be doing? Like, do you guys think they should be in therapy? I don't really know how to coach men on how to get over past trauma because I'm not a man.
So this is a good segue because I kind of want to go down this route because we always do. Like if you guys don't know anything about my platform, the kind of stuff we talk about, I run, a men's community called the Brotherhood of Ancestral Masculinity, and it's all about the brotherhood and men need for that. It's the biological need for it that's sort of been stripped away, that it's as necessary as food, air, and water to men, and always has been. So I kind of want to dodge the question for a second and kind of ask Alexa, because you're married and been together for long, and Amy, I know in your relationship it's still a little bit early. So like, tell me about your husband's guy friends. Like who does he hang out with? Who does he spend his time with? Does he have a group of dudes that he goes out and does stuff with? Like what's that like for him?
So I read a study when I was a lot younger, and it was talking about divorce rates, and it was saying that men who spend time with their friends have exponentially lower divorce rates. And that really stuck with me. And so, my husband and I, we both have a lot of interests, and a lot of them overlap and a lot of them don't. And he, the interests that he has that are not something that I'm interested in, he'll go and he'll do with his guy friends. And he, I would say he spends at least a couple days out of the week hanging out with friends. He plays sports, rugby. He's really attractive, but he likes nerdy things. So he'll play like Dungeons and Dragons with his friends. And like, that's not something I want to go do, but you know what? I'm like, it makes you happy. Like you get a good chance to hang out with your guy friends. And at the same token, like he he supports me in having girls' nights. I go out with my friends. I think it's good to like develop a healthy sense of self and to not rely on your partner 1,000%. And that's not to say that we don't spend time together, because we do. We like set aside time specifically to do things together. Every single day we go for a 45-minute walk with the dogs, and we don't have phones, and we talk about everything that we wanted to talk about during the day. But to circle back to your question, he does spend a lot of time with his friends, and I do encourage it because I find that he's always healthier and happier afterwards. It really helps him mentally. So I think it's really important for people to, have community.
Yeah, so that answer is totally valid. I think that I want to take it even a step further. Like, I think it's easy to kind of look at, like he likes doing that kind of stuff. I'm not really into it. I'd rather do that. He does that. And then he finds people to do that with. It's like, even if you were super into Dungeons and Dragons, it would still be, I think, at least as beneficial or still necessary and beneficial for him to do that with guys too. Like just the sheer of being around other men and the camaraderie and doing things together and like lifting, eating, training, all of these great things, that is something that men have always had. And I think, it's funny, like, I don't want the show to turn more, but it's supposed to be a good time. But, a couple of weeks ago, we had a woman on who was in the mental health space. She talked a lot about, suicide awareness and prevention and things like that. And I kind of asked her why, if there's never been more of a rising awareness campaign around anything, it's mental health, especially for men, right? It's everywhere. If that's the case, why are the rates still going up? Why are they still climbing? And it's because we are in a world that has like increasingly stripped men of this natural rite of passage, fundamental masculine experience of the brotherhood and the tribe. And it's tough because like women love their guys so much, they want to be around them all the time. And they're being told, I think, by people also that like, be his everything, like be the rock, let him be vulnerable to you. You need to be all these things that women just aren't naturally like equipped to do. But women generally also don't like being left out of stuff. Right. So I don't know how many times I've put on videos of us doing events and I'll get DMs like, when are women allowed to come in? Or like, when can you run stuff for us? It's like, you guys got enough stuff. Let me just do this with the guys over here. You guys got plenty. So I don't know, like, go ahead. Yeah, please.
Moff, interesting statistic for men who did take their own lives. 91% of them, according to one study, did reach out to 988 or some other hotline like that. I don't want to say the word here on YouTube, but that 91% of them reached out for mental health and they still deleted themselves, what that lets you know is that modern therapy isn't working for men. This really, at this point, we shouldn't be debating this anymore.
Yeah, we really should.
Yeah, if someone is milquetoast as Chris Williamson is saying this, then it must be like it's so pervasive that nobody can deny it anymore. I'm going to make a pretty controversial statement here. I think therapy speak, and a lot of people on that side of the aisle say that the problem with male loneliness, and while there is a male loneliness epidemic, is because men aren't vulnerable enough. And I disagree. I think there's a male loneliness epidemic because men are too vulnerable. I think men have become the Island Boys, Tekashi 6ix9ine. They've become Harry Styles and Machine Gun Kelly walking around in a pink dress. That's what men have become. They're too vulnerable. And because of that, that's why there's actually a male loneliness epidemic, not because they're not vulnerable enough. So not only is therapy not helping, it is deliberately telling you to go in the wrong direction. I have no problem being vulnerable. I told Rollo about a medical procedure I had recently. Rollo told me about one before he actually mentioned that he had the fistula. He told me about that before he told his audience. The reason why is because we've earned that. We're friends. We've earned the vulnerability of people in our life who've earned that trust. Unfortunately, what the therapy speak is, and what I hear from modern dating coaches, mainstream dating coaches, is, hey, just go be yourself on the first date. No. You have to fucking earn that. You don't get all my vulnerability on the first date. The girl that I'm with right now who cooks and cleans for me and is taking me on a date later, she's paid for the whole thing. That girl, I will be a little bit vulnerable with her. And in fact, because she's so outrageously attracted to me, now I can finally sort of be myself. Finally, because she's outrageously attractive. Now I can kind of be myself. But you know what? I can't be myself. I can't be myself when she looks at me and I'm not tall enough. I can't be myself when she looks at me and I'm not handsome enough. I can't be myself when she looks at me and my skin is not the color of the guys that she's usually attracted to. And I cannot be myself if she looks at me and she she listens to me and I don't have the personality she likes, or I don't have enough clout. When I'm not one of those people who meets her standards, and those standards just keep going up every year, and I don't meet those standards, I can't just be myself.
Yeah, gotta be something. I want to point out that when it comes to like male therapy, that's really like trendy and cutesy to say, oh yeah, therapy is hot. No, it's fucking not. Okay, so let's just draw the line right there, because what they're talking about is therapy that works for women. When we talk about therapy, it's whatever is the popular way of sitting down and talking about your feelings, going to a counselor, going to all this other stuff. Like popular psychotherapy is basically what it is. And the thing is the therapy that works for women is not going to work for men. Because the reason why is because men process emotions differently than women do. We literally do not have the same hardware in our brains that women do. Okay. Our synapses in our brains are wired differently than women's are. Literally, you can see this on fMRI scans. Okay. So when we talk about how men are more like, if you look at like big 5 personality traits, men rate higher in certain ones, women rate higher in other ones, right? There are fundamental differences that go down to the cellular level between men and women, and that also affects our psychologies, okay? So when we process emotions, especially negative emotions, men don't process them the same way, nor do they prioritize emotions in the same way that women do as well. So like our running joke on our show is like, you would do better in the squat rack. That's your therapy. Or you would do better to have a personal trainer or a personal coach of some sort than to have a therapist, because what happens is we have standardized this idea that the proper way or the correct way to do things is the female way of doing things. So if men didn't cry at the end of Titanic, there's something wrong with them. They're
wrong with those men.
They're emotionally stunted or clinically retarded, right? Or they're emotionally intelligent, right? Which is another horseshit term that was brought up, because we want to force men into this female-made box, because if it works for her, it must work for him, because we're all the same. No, we're fucking not the same. Men and women are different. Therapy for men, therapy for women. There's two different ways of going about this. But the thing is when women say, oh, it's sexy when a guy goes to therapy, she's thinking going to my therapist, sitting on his couch or her couch, and we're going to all sit around and have patchouli and oil and tea and chai tea or whatever and talk about our feelings like she would do with her girlfriends. That doesn't work for guys. So when we talk about therapy, I'm not saying that guys don't need to have a basis or a base of, something vulnerability with amongst each other, right? Or having some sort of ability to work through, process emotions. But I'm just going to say is that men do it much differently than women do. The problem is like they're not stupid, they're not unintelligent, they're not emotionally stunted, because they don't do it. They don't do emotion the same way as women do. And like right now, I think that we literally build political policy, and I see this not only in politics. See it in schools and education. Like in the UK, we're trying to train boys to emote and be more like women so they won't turn into these little misogynists. And then we also see it in psychology, and we see it in religion right now too. So it's like they don't understand that the female way of doing things is not the male way of doing things. And you got to let guys be able to go and do that. Otherwise, you're still going to have 5 times the rate of suicide for men and 9 times the rate when they get out of a bad divorce, because there's nothing for them, and what is for them only works for women.
Rollo and Mike, have you guys seen an alternative to therapy that does work for men?
Ooh, funny enough, Moff, if you want to pull up that study that I just happened to post and screen share with you, I had a feeling you were going to ask me this question. I always like to turn to the peer-reviewed science. Always. Can you share that screen?
Got it.
Okay. So this is called behavioral activation therapy. I'm just trying to explain it to you. So for people who suffer from certain disorders, like for instance, borderline personality disorder, the general prognosis for that, or the prescription for that, is called CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy. Behavioral activation therapy, often called BA, is about as effective as cognitive behavioral therapy for acute treatment of depression, with some evidence that CBT actually is somewhat stronger and long-term in certain effects, while BA is cheaper and simple to deliver. Now, there's actual other studies that show that behavioral activation therapy is actually better than cognitive behavioral therapy. But here's the trick. When you take CBT, it comes with BAT, meaning what some experimenters did was like, hey, what if we take all the therapy out of this and just make these people take action? Because that's what behavioral activation therapy is. They just make you take actions that reinforce positive lifestyles, including the squat rack. And the people who did those things, who got outside, got sunlight, went to work out every day, it was actually more effective than taking expensive long-term cognitive behavioral therapy, meaning just taking action alone was enough for people to feel better. That was it. Just taking action. Maybe the best therapy is to go play basketball. Maybe the best therapy is to go have fun out with your friends. And now the data supports this. But that's a problem, since 95% of psychologists under the age of 30 are women. And now you're saying all the psychology stuff that we're telling you before, it actually doesn't work. So if for instance, I'm a performance coach. If my clients don't get results, I don't have a job. But if you're a marriage counselor, if you guys were to actually look at the win rate for marriage counseling, you would fucking laugh. It's hilarious. It doesn't work. If marriage counseling was actually measured on the same rate that, like, say, an engineer was, they'd be out of business. They'd be against the law to go to marriage counseling, because it doesn't fucking work. And most behavioral therapy, it's the exact same way. It doesn't work. The vast majority of the time, it doesn't work. You know what works? Marine Corps boot camp. All of a sudden, people get over depression when they go to that shit real quick. And I've been saying this a million times before, because it takes this entire therapy industrial complex and turns it on its head, when the answer is actually have some cool fucking friends and go throw a football. That's the answer. Talk it out with your boys. Go out on dates with multiple women. And here's one that's really bad. Ready? You're a guy and your girlfriend just broke up with you. Go on dates with a lot of women. And if you happen to sleep with all of them, that's fucking okay. That's all right. There's nothing wrong with that. You can do that. And you want to know what the data shows at the end of Dr. David Buss? Ready? You can drink now. Dr. David Buss's Evolutionary Psychology textbook, 6th edition. If you guys want to go check it out, it's called Evolutionary Psychology, New Science of Mind. Men who have more casual sex when they're growing up have higher self-esteem. Women who have more casual sex while growing up have lower self-esteem. So it actually is one of these things where if I go to my therapist and it's like, hey man, I'm dating like 4 girls and I'm sleeping with them and I feel better. No, you need Prozac. No, I don't. I don't need Prozac. I need to date a beautiful woman. I need a new bench press max and I need to make $1 million. That's actually what I need. And guess what? I don't feel shitty anymore. I feel fucking terrific. So that's the thing. But again, if I do that, that is a very politically incorrect answer, even though the data shows it's correct.
We see the same with a lot of guys who come to our meetups in the Brotherhood. Like, we have a lot of guys in the group who maybe went through a divorce and now come out to an event where they come train with some Navy SEALs or learn to fight from a professional fighter, run a Spartan race for their first time. They come out to these events and then they feel great afterwards because they're out doing things with men accomplishing a task.
Alexa, you had something? Oh, go ahead, Rollo, real quick.
I was going to say, it goes back to what I was talking about discontent. And like there's two ways to deal with discontent, creatively or destructively. Most guys prefer destructive, right? They would rather just self-delete or self-destruct or find some way of lashing out or find some way of, or maybe not even that, maybe just sedating themselves, maybe just like simply like, checking out. That's a destructive, ultimately it's a destructive way of dealing with discontent rather than doing something, because we are happy, we are content in the doing, not in the wherever we end up, right? It's not a state of being, it's a state of doing. Sorry, go ahead, Alexa, you were going to say.
Just to go back to what you were saying about like going out and doing things, instead of like numbing yourself with alcohol, I have to take like a lot of patient histories for my internship, and consistently like the people that heal the best and do the best, despite their injuries, are the people who continuously move, like who continuously do things. And so that kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about like find something that you're passionate about. Personally, I find the most attractive people to me are the people who are passionate about something, even if it's something that I don't really know anything about or
Dungeons
don't necessarily agree on. Sorry?
Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, you know what? If you want to be passionate about Dungeons and Dragons, hell yeah. Like, at least you're passionate about something. Like, you're finding a purpose. I think the whole point of what I'm saying is, like, find a purpose, like, whatever that might be. And so you can, like, I feel like oh my God, I'm stumbling over my words. I feel like people that I find that are passionate about something are just overall happier. Like they have a purpose, like a sense of being. And I really find that those people to me are more attractive. Like I want to be around them. I want to learn about them. I think that is my piece of advice for men. Like I know, don't approach people randomly, because I know that's kind of harsh. But you know what, just find happiness like intrinsically. Don't rely on other people for your happiness. And just find things that make you happy. And I feel like people pick up on other people's energies and other people's excitement and passion. And passion is a really like attractive thing to have.
I think passion is a luxury that is only afforded to women. Like I think men need a mission. I think if you ask men like what their passion is, they just think of maybe like the most fun or like degenerate activity. They get like gambling or like betting on the horses or whatever, or like partying or like sitting on the beach, like flirting with chicks, not things that actually add any value and move society forward, which makes them inherently like unattractive. But like
ambition is also extremely attractive. I'm not going to take that away from you. And you know what? If you want to be passionate about something on the side, be passionate about something on the side. But ambition, you're right.
I'm so glad to have that permission. It's amazing.
Is it? Oh, yes. Be ambitious. Good for you.
You guys are just splitting hairs. I was going to say, you think you guys are just splitting hairs here, because like it's like this one, like men need problems to solve. Men are deductive problem solvers. We need frontiers to explore. That's the problem I think a lot of the guys, most men today are encountering. That's why guys get all hung up on like immersive video games, because it's a new frontier to explore, because there's nothing else to fucking do, right? And so there's nothing to explore. There's nothing to, at least they don't think so. I heartily disagree. I think there's a lot more going on, but they don't have, like, when we talk about men's purpose, really what it is we need problems to solve. We need projects to work on. We need something. I think Alexa is right in the sense that like passion can be something that you really feel like, okay, I want to be the best fucking mechanic I possibly can because I want to be able to take this big block Chevy apart and put it all back together again. And whether that or not that advances, humankind or whatever, I can still rebuild this thing and make some money off of it and put it on the auction at, Barrett Jackson or something like that, right? So it just depends on having that purpose in the first place. That's why I really have a real problem with like guys who are talking about where we don't find meaning in life. You need a fucking purpose before you even get to that. But that's long down the line. You've got to find it something that you like to do. That's why I was saying before, when we do happiness, that's in the problem solving. That I got to figure this out. I don't know why. I just got to figure this shit out, right? When you look at like the works of Dr. Steven Pinker, he has done a lot of studies about this, about how men, you've probably heard this a million times anyways, men are more interested in things and women tend to be more interested in people. That's why women gravitate towards sort of like communications and psychology and people oriented things. Whereas guys are more into like STEM fields, like, electronics and building engineering and all this other stuff, because those are things, right? And guys are looking out and they're going, guys look outward, women tend to look inward. When we communicate, when guys communicate, we're usually looking this way. We're all looking out towards at the game or whatever it is. Women tend to, focus. Hey, how you doing, girl? Tell me about the kids. And it's like this. It's a different even form of communication because our brains, like I said, men and women are different. And so what happens is that the thing is that guys need to be doing something. And I think that's one of the biggest problems with I'll give you the advice I would give young men today is find something that you like, that you want to do. Find a purpose. I don't care what the fuck it is. Find something that you play to your strengths. And like, I think Alexa was trying to call that passion. Okay. But the thing is like whatever is your primary interest, and especially if you can make some money at it, even better. But the thing is that it's whatever the things that's making you that's intrinsically rewarding. Hopefully that's something productive. Hopefully that's something constructive. And then at scale, you get to what you said, Moff, which is now we can advance humankind along because you get enough guys working on the same project. Then you get the Sistine Chapel. Then you get, the Parthenon. Then you get the fucking, pyramids of Giza, whatever. You get enough motherfuckers together on this one project and you do that over generations and stuff like that. Then suddenly you've got these guys are trying to solve a problem, whatever it is, like, that's when you get, the Hubble telescope or the large large particle collider, the Hadron Collider.
Particle Hadron Collider in CERN.
Yeah. Pull a Michael Sartain.
You worded that a lot better than I did. I appreciate you.
I think it's just
you explaining that. You definitely did word it a little more eloquently.
They just don't know what to do with themselves. And it's like,
I mean, if you go back to like evolutionary biology, like think about it. Men had to work together to hunt, to get food. And so like that social aspect of like men working together for a purpose was like what they evolved to do. And so like, you're right. It is really important for men to go and have that sense of community and to have a sense of like, I'm doing something for a purpose. Like, absolutely. I mean, my frame of reference, like I'm obviously don't know everything, but I did take a lot of evolutionary biology classes and that like really blew my mind about like my perspective on things. Like it was incredible to see. So like
what I do with I've got my own group. Like Mike's got MOA, I've got Reignite. I know Moff's got his own thing and stuff like that as well. So I focus primarily on older guys, like anywhere between like 35 and 65-year-old guys, right? And usually these guys are trying to sort of get back in the game. Either they came out of a really bad divorce or something. They had to go through couples therapy, or they had to go through some other kind of feminized therapy. And I build my events and I build my communication within my guys around things. Because like the best conversations I ever had with my brother or my father is, trying to put a Holley 4-barrel carburetor on a Chevy big block, right? I mean, you're just like hovering over the hood, right? And we're just talking, we've got something to focus on. We got a project that we're working on, but we also have conversations, and those are the best conversations. So what I do is I try to get my guys to like, we go and do a deep sea fishing trip. Do you like golf? Great. You want to go to the gun range? Great. We'll do that. You want to go to ride quads, whatever it is. I always have some sort of event or some sort of project or some sort of shared interest. I go to Top Golf, right? and just you're having a good time. But like, that's where guys, when they have a shared interest or they have a shared project or they have a shared goal of some kind, that's where the real communication. You want male therapy. That's where male therapy happens, is when guys actually have a unified purpose that they can all agree on. And then at that point, then you have healthier men. Then you have guys who are more productive. Then you have guys who are more masculine. Then you have guys, when it comes to warfare, that's one thing. When it comes to building something, that's another thing. When it's construction, if it's exploring something, that's another thing. But what it is there's a purpose and there's something that's outside of themselves. And it's intrinsically rewarding for men to be able to solve problems. And that's why there's a disconnect between women when they start talking about their problems and they don't want to have those problems solved. They would rather vent and they would rather talk about those problems and not have them solved, because the communication is what they really get off on, whereas guys get off on the problem solving. So it's like when women say, you're not a good listener. No, I'm trying to solve your problem so I don't have to listen to you bitch about it anymore, right? And the thing is like she doesn't want to have the problem solved because she enjoys having the conversation and having men and dealing with it. I don't think women are necessarily like super prone to drama. They just want to be able to be talking about something all the time. And if they didn't have something, what would we talk about, right? If you solve the problem, there's nothing to talk about. Now we're fucking bored.
Angie, I know I saw you
Angie had
a
something
while ago. Do you have something you want to say?
I think it's not just men. I think women and men, like the problem with mental health these days, everyone is trying to be happy. Happiness doesn't take you anywhere in life. You know, like it's doing something for somebody is what serves your life. Like for me, in my relationship, am I happy? I'm happy not because he makes me happy. I'm happy because I'm doing what I think serving him every day. Like, it's not happiness that we should be seeking every day. That's why you have to go to therapists. Therapists just there to get paid. They don't care about you. They're gonna go home and they have 10,000 other clients. I don't care. So like, what
Thanks,
are you
Myron.
doing? Just
sorry, my bad.
that's what I think. You know what I mean? Like for me, I always have a principle: never trust how you feel, because how you feel is not indication of your reaction. Think about it, because sometimes it's not real. Sometimes it's only for 10 minutes. Sometimes it's only for one day. But your reaction is everything, because it can damage your future relationship. It can damage your life. You can make wrong decision. So that's what I think.
Well said.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, you know what? I think she's kind of made my case for me in a sense. I think women tend to I've written about this extensively, but when we deal with like human beings, men and women, when we deal with new information from our surroundings in an evolutionary sense, right? We deal with them in three ways. We deal with them through instinct, emotion, and then reason. Okay. So the fastest one is instinct, right? That's the one that will save your life, right? If I throw something at Mike, he's going to dodge, he's going to get out of the way. You're going to flinch if I do certain things, right? Revulsion is an instinct. You want to get away from a dead body because of pathogens and stuff like that. There's base instincts that we will revert to in like fight or flight. You know, we have the adrenaline response. That's instinctual. Sex can be instinctual. But that's the fastest way we can process information, because usually we need to, because that's a survival situation. The next process is emotion, and that's in sort of like the center of the brain. Instinct is down in the hind brain. It's in the stem, whereas the emotional response is in the amygdala. It's towards the center of the brain right there. And you got to remember that emotion isn't magic. Okay. It's not like, it's not vibes. It's not like magic pixie dust. I can change your emotion with 2 shots of tequila. And I can change Mike's emotions with 1,000 milligrams of Tren. I can shoot that a good amount of Tren, and trust me, your mental state and emotional state will change really, really quickly. So
no crap.
It's a physical. Emotions are a physical aspect of our body. Our bodies are because we need emotions to tell us how to react, right? Fear is an emotion. Happiness is an emotion. Disgust is emotion. Like, there's 5 base emotions, and from there comes the more complex emotions after that. But emotion is slower than instinct, but it's faster than reason. And reason is where your gray matter is. And that's where you have to learn things, and you have to know how to react. Like I usually use the illustration of like learning a martial art or learning how to drive. Like human beings were not evolved to learn how to drive a car, right? But we can learn how to do so, and we can practice it well enough so that we can commit it to muscle memory, so it just becomes second nature to I just hop in the car and I drive, right? Like if you're studying martial arts is another one. It's like you don't instinctually want to put your face in front of a fist that's coming at it, unless you have the reason and you have the practice and you know how to block a punch and you know how to counter strike and you know how to get out of a dangerous situation. That takes reason, but that's the slowest because you still have to learn all that stuff and you have to practice all of that stuff. And the difference between men and women when it comes to that process is women tend to prioritize things as instinct, emotion, and then reason. For men, it is instinct, reason, and then emotion. Because what men do is they'll respond to the problem, respond to whatever the stimulus is, and then they'll go, how do I solve this problem? I'm going to use my rational mind to do that. And then they'll say, how did I feel about that? Whoa, that was a close call. Oh my God. Maybe they felt some fear in the moment. But the thing is that we're going to process those emotions. We're going to process that process, instinct, emotion, and reason is different for men than it is for women. That's why when women prioritize emotion so much, that's when you get like feels before reals, and everybody wants you follow your heart, girl. It'll never lead you astray. That kind of stuff. But you can't build a life off of prioritizing emotion over like just fucking common sense, man. I mean, and common sense is reason, right? So
I think Anastasia had something, and then Amy next.
I just wanted to add that I think that it's for both genders, the balance is important in all this like therapy and growth process, because like balance between action and thinking and all of that, because I feel like all of us have like a masculine and feminine side in us. And I can see it from my personal experiences too. Like I was dealing with some emotions and things that bothered me, and I was processing them internally and thinking, why is it happening, where it's coming from? And like at the same time, I had like a physical symptoms like neck pain, and I know that it's coming from the just emotions and like unprocessed stuff or something. This bothers me, and I was trying to meditate and different ways to think about it, talk about it. But then until I just like let loose, I went out and I met some friends and went, I don't know, to the rave. Like it just like miraculously just disappeared, the neck pain and everything, because like there should be balance in everything.
You know who has the best mental health? Guys who listen to Pantera and really heavy, hard ass heavy metal, because you have an outlet. Let's go and rock out, man. And I had this conversation with Fresh one time, Mike, and we were in the car and we were listening to his rap, and I said, put on some of my music, man. So we did. We had this conversation. I said, you know what? I said, every human being wants to get down. They always they have that music. They have something that moves them, or you jump up and down, or whether you're I don't know, even Justin Waller, line dancing and country. I don't know what you guys do at the fucking country club, but the thing is, everybody gets down. Every culture, every race, every skin color has some way that they get down, and that's the thing, is that you're right, Anastasia, is that your mental state or your emotional state can have physical consequences, and not just in the negative. They can also be in the positive too. So why do you, I don't know if you work out, but when I go to the gym, I put on headphones and I listen to some really hard music. Why does that do that? Because that music motivates me to lift heavier or to do more shit, right? If I don't have it on, I don't get quite as good a workout. And it's the same thing like when men used to go, well, I don't know if they still do today, but like when men used to go to battle, they used to take drummers and buglers and had music out there and everything to motivate those guys to go, fuck yeah, we're going to stay here and do it. Why? Why do they have that emotional response? You're going to get killed. There's like all these bullets flying at you, but they don't care because they're in that heightened emotional state because of the sound and because of the emotion that they're feeling because of the music at that time. Now, there's other ways, of course, of experience music or stimuluses that can like trigger that emotional response. But you're absolutely right, because emotion is physical. So, and I was going to mention this too, is like, I don't know how many of you girls are on antidepressants, right? But odds are, how many you got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At least one of you, maybe two of you, are on SSRIs right now because it's been so overprescribed for women. And why do they do that? because they're trying to have a shortcut for you to figure out how to deal with your emotions or your state of being or your state of happiness right now. Because women have been sold on this idea that they're entitled to this nirvanic, long-term, sustainable state of joy and bliss, right? And if you don't get it, well, that's okay. We got this pill you can take, and you can just be blissed out all the time.
Amy, go ahead.
Sorry, I agree with some of what you're saying, but I also disagree because I've actually studied mental health counselling and I wrote a book, and I'm very big on reading a lot of psychology. So yes, I was one of the people that put my hands up to being on an SSRI. Do I believe in it? No. Am I still on it 12 years later, stuck, can't get off it? Yes. And you know why? Because it's all a big money making scheme, but I'm not going to divulge into that because
that we can
go on a tangent for ages. However, this was the most important point that I wanted to say. Everybody in life has been through some form of trauma, whether people want to admit it or not, they have been. And that shapes the person that you are today. That shapes your emotions, that shapes the way you react, that shapes your experiences in life, that shapes who you surround yourself with. And I have found throughout my life, I was very big on what you were saying, Michael, about the BAT and the CBT. Over here in Europe, it's more common that people that are therapists and do CBT will often tell people more about the BAT. I don't know if it's the same in America. Predominantly, maybe it is just CBT. I'm not sure. Where was I getting to with this? I'm going off on a tangent. Oh, that was it. Sorry. We have a saying here in England, and I don't know if you have it in America. You can take the horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So there are people out there that will sit there and moan and in their own self-pity and hate life, but they won't do anything about it, and they won't do anything about it to change themselves. And I'm sorry, but you are your problem, but you are also your solution. You have to heal those wounds so that you can be in the best place possible to then start dating again. And there are going to be times in your life where you're not always going to be content. Content is what we look for, but it's how you handle it and it's how you deal with it. And if you always have things to look forward to, then naturally your serotonin levels will rise and you will be happier than you were before. Sorry, I know that was a lot.
I feel like I've got some useful advice for everybody. I think my partner, I remember my boyfriend told me, everything in life, if you're happy, don't make decision. If you're sad, don't make decision. Always take a step back if you have elevated emotion. And that stays with me, and I think that's the most useful thing you can ever do in your life.
They tell you that about driving too.
Yeah, true.
Don't shop when you're hungry.
Michael, explain to them what an OODA loop is. OODA loop. Yeah. Maybe is it orient?
It's just like a
observe, orient,
a feedback loop.
Decide, act.
Yeah.
Decide, act. Yes. Teach you that in the military? Yeah.
They did teach that, the airspace and basic course. I forgot that part. I didn't. I was eating rabbits and fucking. I
hear what you're saying, Amy. I understand it. I think one of the biggest crimes we perpetrate on, especially women today, is giving them a shortcut or trying to give them a chemical. I mean, it doesn't have to be SSRIs. I mean, women's alcoholism is shot through the roof recently too, right? And I think a lot of that has to do with a lot of dissatisfaction that they have in like trying to find a partner, trying to find some sort of romantic outlet, or trying to know what the fuck to do with their lives and anything else. And I think it hits women a little bit harder simply because we have raised women to believe that they are entitled to a state of happiness. That why do women leave men, right? I'm unhappy.
We blame Disney.
Happiness is something you feel while you're doing something, not something where you've reached this state, right?
Michaela brings up a good point. I think we used to be able to blame Disney. Now we blame social media. There has been no greater envy creating device in the history of mankind than social media. That's like the biggest one that there is. And so I definitely think that, there's a great book, 2 books. Number one, Alexa, I really hope that you get to read Joe Heinrich. He's the chair of evolutionary biology at Harvard. He has a book called The Secret of Our Success, which is phenomenal. It's about what you were just talking about before. And the other book is called The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt, which goes over basically, I'll sum it up for you. people born after 1995 had smartphones while they were going through puberty, and they are fucked. Like the massive levels of neuroticism, anxiety, and depression compared to the general population. Thank God I didn't have a smartphone until I'm 29 years old. Like it was, I just see this all the time. There's just this delineation from when I meet girls that were born after 95 and girls that were born before 95. It is so clear, this difference that happens where it's just swipe. So what's happened to this generation is, okay, I'm a woman and I'm being taught by TikTok, I don't like this feeling. Swipe. I don't like this. Swipe. Oh, let me swipe the feeling away. Let me make the feel. I don't like this feel. I'm not getting immediate dopamine. Let me swipe the feeling away. Mm-hmm. It's called brain rot. Now you go on a date with a guy. He doesn't immediately make you laugh. He's not as good looking as the guy that you saw on IG. He doesn't immediately give you this dopamine hit and the stimulus that you were looking for. Let me swipe him away. He gives me the ick. I'm going to ghost him. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to even show up for this thing. Swipe, swipe, swipe. That's where we've gotten to in this society. Now, men, obviously the same thing. That I would relate this exact same phenomenon to men when it comes to pornography and OnlyFans. But sure. the main thing is what I'm saying is now we're kind of in this anxious generation now where people have a very, very hard time relating to one another. And I think a lot of it has to do with social media. Disney definitely screwed up. Nothing screwed up more women than that stupid 50 Shades of Grey book. Yeah, he's a billionaire with a huge penis and he only fucks one woman in all 3 books. Okay. Oh, that's so realistic. Yeah. Bill Gates can't even keep his dick in his pants. I built this very Jeff Bezos can't even keep his dick in his pants.
One girl. Yes.
This guy built a sex dungeon in his basement for one girl. Dude, who the fuck believes this? That book series ruined more women than anybody else. Oh, I'm going to find my billionaire with a huge penis who's going to take my virginity. Like, what the fuck? That shit was crazy.
Mike, what do you say to the guys who are like, all like women, everyone's raised with social media now. So like they're all just screwed. Their minds are messed up. It's not even there's no point in trying to date right now. Like, what do you say to that guy?
Yeah. So what I would say is there's a way, it's kind of a weird way to do this, but I almost use this necessity for attention in my favor, almost against them. So like, for instance, what I've told you, and I've told you this a million times, Spencer, I'm a content creator. I'm a social media producer. I am not a social media consumer. And often when my social media is good, then the stimulus she's craving is actually coming from me. So because I'm the one who posted the funny meme that she's looking at, or I'm the person that she looks up to, that's the difference, is that I'm going to do that. Now, you're still going to have problems with the ADD situation. And to be honest with you, Spencer, I don't know how to fix this because it seems to be getting worse. And the level of depression and anxiety seems to be twice as prevalent in women than it is in men. But it is a nasty situation. Here's what I would tell you to do, Spencer. Let's all get together. Let's start a PAC and let's make it a federal felony for you to have smartphones in high schools. That's what I would like to do. I think that would fix, because, like, as you know, all of our wives are probably in high school now. So it's probably best.
Didn't Australia pass something recently like that?
All right.
What'd you say, Michaela?
I think Australia passed something recently like that.
They did. I believe that is the case. Yeah, but it's pretty smart. But this is the thing that I found, is that when I lead large groups of people, then I become the stimulus that takes over for the phone. That's the thing I have to do. But that's a lot of work. And you're right. It is kind of difficult. I remember dating in the 1990s, and it wasn't like this.
So
it wasn't anything like this.
I'm an individual that's kind of like special case, because like we asked in the back saying like I'm the only one here who's never been on a dating app, like literally never been on a dating app.
Can I because Michaela, I was going to actually transition to this. Ladies, can I ask you a question? The last 3 to 5 guys you dated, Angie, how did you meet them? How did you meet the last 3 to 5 guys you dated? Real quick, how'd you meet them? I don't really need to know all the details. How'd you meet them?
It's actually just my partner. So on Tinder. I met him.
You met your partner on Tinder in Australia?
Yeah, 8.5 years ago. Yes.
Okay, and that's the only person you've been with 8.5 years ago.
Yes.
Beautiful. Amy, the last 3 to 5 guys you dated, where'd you meet them?
One I met at a bar, and the other 4 were on the apps.
On the apps, incredible.
Yeah.
Megan, how'd you meet the last 5 guys you dated?
Organically, through friends or out.
Through friends out. Okay. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Cool. Anastasia, how'd you meet the last 3 to 5 guys you dated?
One through Instagram, the rest also being out and through friends.
Through friends. Okay. Got it. Michaela, how'd you meet the last 5 guys you dated?
Work or old friends.
Work or old friends, so not on a dating. Okay. And then Alexa, you met last 5 guys you dated because they brought along some baggage.
I met my husband at the airport, and then the 2 guys that I dated before that, I approached them at the gym. I know what I like.
Okay.
See, I approach people and it don't work.
Got it. I'm
Men
just
with
curious.
a passion, right?
Yeah.
The passion of fit.
My fitness
Well,
passion is like a cream over.
I actually approached one of them because he was teaching somebody how to train, and I was like really intrigued by how patient he was, and it turns out that was his wife, which I didn't find out until later.
Score one more for.
Yeah, he waited until
Yes.
she went to the bathroom to ask for my number. Yeah.
Hey, that's respectful. That's the way it should be.
It
What
was
a
an
gentleman.
awful situation.
Yeah, just wait. Don't do it in front of her. That's rude.
Yeah. Don't
Anyways,
do it.
I'm
uncouth.
Wife's got to go in the
really
bathroom.
glad
and
that
shoot
I'm
up
married
handlebar.
because dating was not a
Shoot
good
up.
experience for me.
Yeah. Incredible. Okay, awesome.
Actually, that reminded me, I wanted to ask this one earlier. We talked about men having a passion and saying that that's a guy who got really popular recently on social media for having a passion of looks maxing. Clavicular. Does anyone know who that is? The girls, you know who that is?
Raise your hand if you know who clavicular is. Just raise your hand.
Oh no.
Let's do it
Yeah,
anyway.
I think
Just
some of
Megan?
you do and are like embarrassed to admit that.
I hate that I do, but he was in Scottsdale recently, and that's how I found out who he was. I just saw him
they let
trending.
minors in the clubs in Scottsdale.
They
too.
did.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah. Incredible. So like how attracted are you to clavicular, Megan?
I'm 34, so no, not at all. 0%. Negative.
No? Okay.
If I was his age looking at him, maybe I would say like that's an attractive guy. If I just saw a picture, I didn't hear him speak.
But I
You just
Like
saw
that.
a picture and knew nothing else about him.
Correct.
He's not allowed to speak. The moment he speaks, I don't like him anymore.
That would be my take.
Okay.
Awesome.
No one else. Can you put a picture of him up?
Yeah.
Let's just see. Clavicular. Clavicular is funny because every time I look at Clav, I can just sort of see the fat kid underneath the mask, because like he's done a lot with himself. I'm not going to take anything away. I actually kind of want to like Clav, but it's like when you see the videos of him interacting with women, you can see he never really had to go through the process or the phases of somebody who actually went from being fat and ugly to being the guy who's actually learned a process, and now he's like.
I saw a clip of him recently saying that himself. Like he said, "I never learned to talk to women, and so now I don't know what to do."
Yeah. Like, for instance, I know Mike knows Justin Waller's story when he was like sort of like, was this country bumpkin. He didn't get along with anybody, got beat up, got bullied. He was a big kind of doofy, Southern Louisiana guy, and was fat for a while, got himself in shape, got himself, but turned his whole freaking life around. But as a result, the Justin Waller that we know today is a result of a process that started when he was like in his 20s. Right. So to get to the point where he's at right now, like that's the product of learning the things along the way. And I just don't think Clav has like got that just yet. It's like he's breaking his jaw with a hammer to do micro fractures in his for his jawline, when he probably should just be reading either my books or some, like, I don't care, and he should be just learning more social skills so he's more congruent when he's actually meeting people. There you go.
Yep.
Does he
this
have
guy here?
Okay, what was the guy? Was it Robert Pattinson? He's the guy that played Edward in the Twilight series? Does he remind you of him at all?
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
I kind of thought so. Yeah.
I can see it.
I think he might have had that vibe. He's not like yoked, but he's got the Zoolander male.
He's big enough to date 19-year-olds. That's
true.
Or 18-year-olds. He's big enough to date 18-year-olds.
He knows where to get fake IDs too.
He knows the right promoters. The reason why he doesn't come to Vegas because we don't let underage girls in here.
Never get in his.
He hadn't been here once.
All right, guys, we're starting to kind of wind things down. Michael, do you have something else? Usually what I like to do at the end is like I like to ask ladies if they have any questions specifically for you guys or the panel, like that sort of thing. Maybe it's like a piece of advice or maybe it's like your opinion on something they've heard. So is that kind of where you wanted to transition? Is that cool?
No, yeah, for sure. But I want to ask one real question.
Oh, yeah, please.
Real quick. The two of you who did say you met a guy on dating apps, which is Angie and Amy, the other four of you didn't. Do you guys mind me asking how old are you? Just around, like how old are you, Angie?
Oh, how am I now? So 26, turning 27.
When you met him, or now?
Yeah.
So now you're around 34.
I'm 30. I'm 36 now.
36.
Okay, got it.
Okay, got it.
Wait, so yeah, like 28 or something. I don't know,
Beautiful.
like that. Those late 20s.
Amy, what about you? I'm just curious.
So I've just turned 31, but I've been on the app since like my mid-20s. But as I've said to the others, the guy that I've obviously been dating recently, I've only been dating a couple of months.
You met him on the apps?
No, I met him organically.
Organically, how? Did a friend introduce you? Some kind of exclusive event? Like, how'd you meet him?
No, so we knew of each other, and then we saw each other at a bar. And then we just started chatting, and then it just kind of grew from there.
Got it. Okay.
Sweet.
You knew each other beforehand, though.
We knew of each other. Yeah, so we were like acquaintances before.
Hey, Angie, I have to be honest with you. Like I've asked like hundreds of women this, and I think 3 times ever I've had a girl tell me that they met a guy and dated him from a dating app. It's extremely rare. So when you say you met a guy 8.5 years ago, yeah, I just don't. It doesn't happen very often.
In Australia, it's so common.
Been together 3-4 years.
Yeah,
dating app.
What'd you say, Michaela?
One of my old friends, she and her partner, they've been together about 4 years, and they met on Tinder. And
obviously it must happen. It must happen sometimes. I just think that they become successively worse. The apps have become successively worse is now because Tinder has 9 men for every woman on it. I think it's just become next to impossible in there. Anyway, Moff said before, if you guys wanted to ask us questions.
Yeah, please. If there's anything you have specifically, fire it away.
I know for men.
Any of the girls.
Yeah, no.
I was just going to say, I know for men, Michael, you were saying it's not, I guess, worth it being on the apps, but I don't know. It just feels like garbage on the other side as well, but it also feels hard meeting men organically. So what's your suggestion for us?
My suggestion is become the leader of the group that goes to morning yoga, the leader of the group that goes to escape rooms, the leader of the group that goes to mini golf, the leader of the group that goes to Top Golf, the leader of the group that takes a hike over to Zion, Mount Zion, the leader of the group that goes to Grand Canyon. This is here in Las Vegas. The leader of the group that takes a trip out to the beach. Become a leader of a social circle group. Get you and your buddies, 2 of your buddies. Rent a wakeboarding boat, take 5 girls with you out you on the wakeboarding boat, and don't hit on any of them. Just bring tons of girls with you to a bunch of different things that you go to. Let them see you in your native environment with other women giving you attention. Don't hit on any of them and just become the lead. Now, here's the big one. Become the leader of the animal rescue charities in your city, the leader of the toy drives in the winter, for Christmas toy drives. Become the leader for ALS, cancer research. In October, do a breast cancer awareness thing and invite as many beautiful women as you can and create a social circle from philanthropy and create a social circle from activities. Do that. You will meet better men and meet better women because you'll get to observe each other in your normal environment as opposed to just like swiping right on somebody who looks attractive. Someone should teach a fucking course on this. It's crazy.
But if you have a business, right? Like you're busy, you don't have no time, and then you don't have time for that. Like that's why you meet people on Tinder. If you're working, you don't have time for that. Like that's why you meet people online.
Yeah,
you don't have the time to be exploring all this stuff.
Here's why I disagree, Angie. So my first dates, there's always 4 to 6 girls on my first dates. I'm going. Your guys are going on 6 one-dates on 6 nights. I'm going on a date with 6 girls in one night. I'm actually spending less time than using Tinder.
So
next week, week after next, I'm hosting a Babes in Toyland charity event. We're doing it for an animal rescue, and there's a swimsuit showcase. So during that night, if I was single, I could meet upwards of 30 girls. So I only have to go out one night and I meet 30 girls and I actually get to see them in an environment with a charity environment, as opposed to date, swipe 100 times for one match. For the average guy, it's 6 matches for every 1,000 right swipes. Angie, the dating apps are actually a waste of time. Having an amazing social circle where people keep getting brought into your life actually saves you more time than going on the physical dates.
Instagram is the #1 dating app on planet Earth right now. Not
See,
Can I just?
Oh, sorry. You're on done that, Ken.
No, I was just going to add something in. Prior to what I do now, obviously when I'm a flight attendant, I get a lot of time off. But prior to that, I had an incredibly busy job in corporate for years, and I still had time to go to the gym. I still had time to write my book. I still had time to do pageants, and I still had time to date. So I feel like if something is important to you, it doesn't matter how many hours there are in the day, you will make time for it.
You're right, 100%. And like for me, in my experience, like I said, I'm not on the apps. I've never been on the apps. I organically meet people, have always done that. I work a lot of different jobs, my main 2 being retail and then bartending. But I am a model. I do network. I do socialize. I met Michael at Swimsuit USA a couple of years back. I do these competitions as well too. I'm constantly meeting people every single day. Always met with, I always end up meeting the wrong guy somehow. I don't know why I attract it bad, but like I never been able to make that proper connection for me. And I always am told that either I'm too attractive or you deserve better, you do better. But I'm the one putting together the events. I'm the one putting the networking events. And I am bringing these people together.
Can I make a suggestion for you? Okay.
Yes.
Ready? You probably want to write this down. Get some male slut friends. Some dudes who are just running through hundreds and hundreds of women, and then ask them for, but don't sleep with them. And then ask them for advice on what to do or whether or not. Trust me, they will disillusion you from all of the bullshit. I'm talking about some dude who's like a fucking male stripper who's been with 700 girls. Have that guy be your buddy and then tell you, hey, yeah, this guy's fucking around with you, whatever. You will get better advice. Do that.
Okay.
Because the same thing happens to me. Like I had one of those phases in my life, and whenever I talk to a girl and she's one of my friends and she's like, I'm dating this dude, I'm like, I can see through the bullshit. Same thing. I tell guys the same thing. You don't sleep with them, but you should have some female friends who are fucking lying to 17 dudes at the same time, sending them fucking nudes, doing all the tricky, super toxic shit to dudes, but they're friends with you and you're not dating them, and they show you all the dudes they're texting or all the guys that they're lying to on OnlyFans or whatever. It disillusions you as a man, so you don't get caught up in that trap. So that's the only thing I would say, Michaela, is do that. By the way, I got a bunch of male whore friends that'll be friends with you, Michaela.
Good to know.
And then are you coming to Punta Cana for Swimsuit USA?
I'm trying to. I'm working on it.
Okay, come to Vegas and compete my preliminary.
Okay, good to know.
Yep.
When's the preliminary? I'm a pageant girl too.
My preliminary. So go to Swimsuit USA. My preliminary is going to probably be August 6th at Sahara in Las Vegas. And I think we're due $5,000 prize money, and then two year.
I'm not competing. I direct, so I'll just be supporting.
Yeah,
so,
there's 2 girls. We sent 2 girls to Swimsuit USA.
Girls too.
Yes. UK has their own Swimsuit USA prelim.
Yeah, I know. So I know some of the girls. That's why I'm saying I'm going to come to support, because I direct Regency now. But yeah.
Okay.
I'm working on getting another preliminary in Canada, so we can have like a third one.
Well, there's another one of my male whore friends, Spencer. Just talk to him, and then he can help you out with that.
Love that. Perfect.
Anyway, ladies, do you have any other questions for us?
I'm good. Leave you, ladies.
Anyone else?
Okay, then I think we're all set to wrap. This has been a lot of fun. Ladies, you're always welcome back. Michael, Rollo, thank you guys so much for dropping in. If you guys are watching, we appreciate the support. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Show these guys your support. Before we actually wrap up, Rollo and Michael, why don't you guys just tell the people where they can find you, what you're kind of working right now, what's on the horizon for you, and what's next.
Sure. We're going to be doing Access Vegas, our show, on Wednesday. That's going to be at a new time. It'll be 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern time on our regular channel, which is the Access Vegas channel. And I do a show called The Rational Male every Sunday at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. And I am the author of 6 books, actually, including The Rational Male, the Bible of the Manosphere, the Bible of the Red Pill, whatever you want to call it. And so you can pick that up, all of them up at Amazon. I'm only on Amazon. And if you have any questions or you want to like direct anything at me, I'm easily found on Twitter or X or whatever we're calling it now. I am Rollo Tomassi at Rational Male.
Yeah, you guys can find me at Michael Sartain on pretty much everything except for X, where they took my account away. So I'm Sartain Podcast, and then on TikTok, I think I'm Michael Sartain. Saying I'm finally out of TikTok jail. For a while, I was in massive TikTok jail. TikTok does not like male self-improvement at all. No, they do not, because women do not buy male self-improvement programs. So I'm out of TikTok jail. If you guys want to come check me out there. Also, for the guys who are considering Men of Action and you're interested in proof of concept, Spencer's been out to some of the events. Rollo's been out to some of the events. We're having a Babes in Toyland March 19th in Los Angeles at Sky Bar. We're having a Babes in Toyland April 16th or 17th here in Las Vegas, I believe at Justin Aldean's bar. And then in May, we're having one May 16th at a Strawberry Moon in Miami. All of them are charity events, and all of them will be 3 times as many girls as guys, and they're all bikini fashion shows. So a bunch of girls walking around in bikinis. If you want to see whether or not this works, you got to come out there. She's been out to some before. If you guys want to see whether or not this idea of social circle works, it not only does it work, we're getting to the point where it's the only thing that works. Women are shaming men for coming up and talk to them in public. And as far as the dating apps are concerned, we've surveyed hundreds and hundreds of women. And I would say it's probably less than 3% of them say that they've used dating apps. And none of them had said, yeah, some guy just came up to me drunk in a bar and hit on me, and then I ended up dating them. It's always a social circle, social media, or exclusive events where girls are meeting guys. And so that's what we teach you. We teach you how to master those 3 things in this course, along with teaching you leadership, entrepreneurship, critical thinking, and evolutionary psychology. So go to moamentoring.com if you guys are interested in that. Otherwise, you can watch me and Rollo spread more misinformation on Access Vegas tomorrow night and get ourselves in trouble. They really should take these fucking microphones away from us, because we are going to get in deep shit.
Hookers and blow, man. That's all we are.
There you go.
Right on. Thank you, guys. Everybody watching, again, thanks again, ladies. Thank you for coming on. Everybody here is welcome anytime. We'll go ahead and wrap there. Tune in to Access Vegas tomorrow night. And hopefully we'll see a lot of you guys soon. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks all.